Hi everyone. So this video is for everybody that owns a 2021 Toyota Rav4 Prime and was a little annoyed that the overhead console light buttons aren't actually backlit. So I'm talking about these four buttons right here. The obvious issue being that when it's dark in your vehicle and you're looking for the overhead light buttons, it's a little bit of a pain to actually find these buttons in the dark. So one of the things we noticed is that on the 2022 Rav4 Prime, these buttons actually are backlit. So this console is actually from a 2022 Rav4 Prime. You can tell because the bulbs for the overhead lights are not actually replaceable. They are surface mounted LEDs that you can see here. So that's one way you can tell pretty quickly. I'll leave the part description or the part number in the description for you below if you ever want to take a look at it. So the first part is removing the back cover for this. All I'm going to say is that it's extremely tedious. I believe I saw a Chaz8 on Rav4 forum saying he used toothpicks to kind of wedge into every single clip. And yeah, just take your time, be patient with it. The clips are here, 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 here. There's one down there, down here, and down here. And maybe one here. But yeah, just take your time with it and be really careful. I've already taken that out just to save some time. And once you take the back cover off, you're left with the board itself and the buttons. So the board itself actually kind of wiggles right out. It does take a little bit of finagling. Actually, we can move this whole part off. And we can remove this because really what they did was the connector for the backlight is actually part of the wiring harness, but the 2021 version is actually missing the connections for those backlights. So what we have to do is we have to jumper a power source from one of the other connections to where these bulbs actually get power. And in order to do that, we need to get on the other side of this board. So I'm actually gonna wiggle this back and forth a little bit. And when I take this out, you'll actually see why. You'll notice that these buttons actually have a little bit of detent. And that detent is actually grabbed by these little claws in the buttons that you can see right there. They actually grab onto the buttons themselves just to give a bit more of a textured or more of a tactile feeling when you push the buttons. And here's the board. And this is actually the pins that we're trying to get access to right here. You will need a soldering iron, so definitely hopefully you got your skills for that. If not, contact your nearest electrician is the only advice I can really provide. And here we are looking at the pin connections for the wiring harness. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to be connecting, well, first off, you can see that the pins are numbered. So if you can see it, you can see this pin up here is dial number 1, this pin is number 13, this pin over here is 12, and that pin is 24. And what we're actually going to need to do is we're going to need to connect pins 21 to 24. So you can see I have this wire that I have being held here. That is pin 21, and that is pin 24. So all we're going to do is solder those together. Essentially, since we don't have power from the actual wiring harness itself, we're going to use the same power source that the SOS module uses. Is that okay? I have no idea. I guess we'll find out momentarily when I plug it in. Okay, realized I wasn't going to make you watch me struggle as I attempt to put very shoddy solders together. But here you can see I've connected pins 21, 24, and 14 and 15. Doesn't look great, but you know what? It's good enough for who it's built for, just like they said in high school. So let's go put this back together and throw it in the car. Okay everyone, here we are in the car. So this is the original one, the one with the 4 buttons that don't have the backlight. And we're simply gonna, actually, before we do anything, let me take my sunglasses. Alright, so basically the easiest way to pull this out, well, what people have been doing is they'll take a trim tool, shove it in the top, and kind of work its way around until eventually you're able to pop out. It actually does take quite a bit of force, so it is going to feel like you have to, might break something. I guess the easiest way is to get a tool that actually use as leverage instead of just trying to pull it back down with your arms. So there's 2 in the top, 2 at the bottom. We're just going to work our way down. Okay, here we go. And those are 4 clips. And as you can see, I actually broke this one, but not to worry, the part you buy actually comes with new ones. Now my only issue is how to pull that out, but we'll deal with that. Here's a connector, we're going to pull that out. And I actually just noticed there appears to be a microphone here that we're going to need to transfer over. Okay, realize I did not get the greatest shot of the microphone connector here. So that's the microphone right there. And that's the microphone connector right there. So all you gotta do for the connector is to push down from the bottom. And it releases. And it just kind of threads out from that connector like there. Now there's 2 tabs holding the actual microphone in place. There's a tab on the left side and the tab on the right side. So after finagling with it for a little bit, it seems like the best strategy is to get some sort of O-ring tool in there to kind of release that side. And then that'll allow you, that makes it a lot easier to kind of wiggle it out. And I'm actually going to try to wedge this tool into the other side of the clip. Again, off camera, but amateur YouTuber, so that's the microphone. Looks like it has a little bit of foam just for some anti-vibration, since this is a microphone, I believe, for your cell phone. So we're going to go ahead and transition that over to the other overhead console. So here we are with the 2022 overhead console with a nice 4 intact clips. Looks like this literally just gets shoved down there. Beautiful. Gonna thread that cable underneath that piece of plastic. Insert into the connector. And I think we're ready to put this up and see how it looks. Okay everyone, here we are again. We're gonna put this connector back on. Hopefully nothing shorts out, catches on fire, smokes, or causes any other sorts of issues. You know what, before I fully insert, I'm just going to turn the car on and see what happens. Oh yeah, cool. And the lights are definitely on. That is awesome. Okay, cool. I'm actually going to turn them back off. Turn the car back off. Yep, and they are definitely off. So, cool. Yeah, that is how to get backlit buttons on a 2022 Rav4 Prime. Hope this video was helpful. Yeah. And I know people are going to ask if I broke anything, so here we go. And everything seems to work. Oh, also, some of you may notice this red LED isn't working. So yeah, apparently, unlike everything else in the car, these are actually 3-volt LEDs. So when I was going in and applying 12 volts to everything, I may have burnt out the LED. So just a heads up for anyone that actually ends up going in and trying to do it by yourself. Just be careful, some of these are 3-volt components.